Ayan, good afternoon everyone and welcome to another edition of our Okay. Welcome everyone to another edition of our free webinars every Saturday. Ayan. Ang ating pong topic for this month is the role of technology in HR and the pandemic. This is our third session so far for the specific topic. We had a very good run last month, and this month we're focusing mostly on how you can take advantage of technology in order to streamline your work as an HR, allow for work from home, and things like that. Meron lang po kaming isang warning lang po because nag-uulan po from where I am right now. So if you are experiencing some lag in the broadcasting, wag po tayong mag-alala. You can get a copy of the video when you make your request for your certificate of attendance. So yung certificate po along with the video, copy of the video, and all other materials, including the copy of the slides, will be sent to you after our session po. Actually, after once you've placed your request for the certificate of attendance. Now, certificate of attendance, the link for that will be flashed later. Please allow us 5 to 7 working days to send it over to you. Yung mga nag-aantay po nung kanilang mga certificate from the last webinars, may mga isisend po mamaya. Please look out for an email from Monica Nalda. She'll be the one to send you the certificates para po doon sa mga last sessions natin or previous sessions po natin, lalo na po yung na-delay na certificate for performance management. Ayan, kasi medyo naparami po ang umattend ng performance management. So, bumigay na naman ang aming sistema sa paggagawa po ng mga certificates. Ayan. So, before anything else, I would like to invite everyone to join HR Bootcamp Batch 13 po. So, if you're interested in attending HR Bootcamp Batch 13, please take out your mobile phones, go to your QR code scanner, and scan the QR code flashed on your screens right now. Ayan po. Para po kayo ay makasali sa atin pong batch 13 of HR Bootcamp. Now, those who have undergone HR Bootcamp, past HR Bootcamps, you actually can take advantage of the AHRP certificate or Associate in HR Professional certificate by the International Federation of Professional Managers. If you're interested in getting the AHRP certification, just send us an email po, support@readyrightnow.com. We'll give you the details on how you can take the exam. Once you've passed the exam, you can get your credentials and yung membership nyo po with IFPM. Okay? AHRP is kinulang sa hangin. Acknowledged and accepted po by a number of international companies, especially in Australia. Ayan po. Ngayon, so ayan po, dyan po kayo pupunta if you would want to be part of HR Bootcamp. At good news din po sa mga sasali po sa ating batch 13 of HR Bootcamp, you automatically, once you register and confirm your registration, after completion of all the courseworks, you get food vouchers from Food Panda. So yan po. I would also like to invite everyone to watch out dun sa page po namin. We usually have quizzes, surprise quiz ba? Every now and then, and each of these quiz, pag kayo po ay nakasagot, pinakatamang sagot, you get special surprise po at mga prizes po every now and then. Yan, tambay po kayo. I think it was last Monday, I think it was last Monday. We had one, actually pinost namin sa Society for the Advancement of HR in the Philippines. Doon nakapost yung quiz. Si Miss Amor, if I remember correctly, but she won when she explained what is the basis for not what is the basis for not paying separation pay if the business closed down. So ano yung po pwedeng maging basis na hindi ka magbibigay ng separation pay? Ayan. Tapos I think the other day we also had another winner. Ang tanong naman natin is what is the flagship program of UpRush? So tambay-tambay lang po kayo doon para makita niyo po yung ating mga surprise quiz. If you want to be a sponsor of our free webinars, let us know. We are currently offering a number of packages. These are very affordable packages. Or if you want to be one of our speakers, just let us know. Send us an email. Again, support@readyrightnow.com, para we can have you as one of our speakers. For the month of October, we are looking for speakers on process management. Ayan po. Process management po tayo next month. Okay, so if you know someone or if you are interested in being one of our speakers, now's your time to shine. Ayan. Of course, hindi po mawawala sa ating program for the day, mga panawagan po natin. We would like to ask for help, support of any kind for some of our friends. So we have Andre here. Andre is actually the son of one of my friends. He was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia last June 10, 2020. He's still in need of medication. His parents are still needing help in terms of financial support. So if you want to help Andre, nakapost po dyan yung kung paano po kayo makakatulong kay Andre. If even moral support is accepted po, wag po tayong mahiyang mag-text sa mga numbers na yan para po for moral support doon po sa parents po ni Andre and for Andre himself. Andre is actually a very, very bubbly kid, even though he is fighting his battle right now. He's a very active and very bubbly kid, napakatalinong bata. Okay po? And of course, we would like to seek help for one of our team members, Monica Nalda. Her father passed away recently, and it's only now that she's actually able to work on the documents kasi this is actually COVID related. So medyo nahirapan siya. We are asking for any financial support to help her and her brother go through all of the things that have happened to them within the last few months, 2 months actually. Okay, so yaan po. Yes, actually, we are considering the angkot. I just haven't gotten around to sending him an email, but he is one of our foremost um, option for process management. We might hopefully pumayag. We might get him as one of our speakers for process management. Ayan po. Plug lang po muna natin yung ating one of our sponsors. We would like to thank Social Geekers. Social Geekers is actually the internet marketing arm of Uprush. We would just like to thank them for their work so far on how they're handling our free webinars. So please watch this po. Ayan po. So, the time has come to introduce our speaker for today. Actually, feeling international ako this past few days. Social ng aking mga speakers. Diyos ko, maraming salamat po at pumayag po sila na maging speaker at matulungan po tayo on the different things that we need to learn when it comes to making use of technology in order to adapt to the current situation that we have. So our speaker for today, for this afternoon, has about 11 years of experience in product development, product management, analytics, operations, and software development. He is a self-confessed lifelong learner while being a passionate teacher and has worked with such companies as Car Moody, Movie Club, and Prep Guru. He sees himself as having entrepreneurial mindset that allowed him to work exclusively in startups. This reflects his aspirations of being able to start business from the ground up as well as grow existing ones in novel ways. A graduate of MBA from the esteemed Asian Institute of Management, our speaker for this afternoon is currently the Vice President of Product for Sprout Solutions. Sprout Solution is an online HRIS platform that allows HR professionals to work on payroll and other HR functions and processes with very little headache even when their employees are working from home. So napaka-apt po ng ating speaker for this afternoon and the company that he represents. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me introduce you all to Mr. Kisley Chandra. Good afternoon, Kisley.
Good afternoon, Rona. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction. I am blushing. But because of my dark complexion, maybe you won't see it.
Okay. Thank you also for agreeing to do this with us. We actually we are receiving a lot of inquiries from our clients and from people subscribed to our page about how they can automate their processes, HR processes, to allow them to work from home regardless of the industry they're in and of the kind of business that they do. We were talking earlier about certain businesses really would have a hard time adapting to working from home and things like that. But at least for some, there is still a way for them to adapt and to make use of technology to make things easier on their side. So I think, Kisei, I'll give the floor to you now so you can help our attendees understand more about how technology and how they can automate and digitize and enable work from home for all of their workforce.
Thank you very much, Rona. So let me know if if everyone can share the presentation. Is the presentation clearly visible? Okay, I think the presentation is clearly visible to everyone now. So uh, first of all, I would like to thank everyone for taking the time to attend this webinar. Deeply honored to be here. And without further ado, let's begin. So our talk today is about digital transformation, right? In the pre-COVID era, it seemed like a fancy term, not something that was on everyone's mind, like digital transformation. It sounds so like highfalutin. And then COVID came and it ruined it for everyone, right? Like I am sure you're familiar with the saying that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So just like that, this crisis that we find ourselves in the middle of is just another lemon that we can make lemonade of. Any organization that was on the fence about digital transformation is now actively pursuing it. So basically, what COVID-19 did for everyone is, it gave everyone a push that was needed, right? And today's topic, automating and digitizing for work from home, is one of the most important parts of a company's digital transformation journey. It's actually one of those core functions, that the sooner you automate, the better it's going to be for your company. Because if you stick to the manual process, it's prone to so many errors and it will create so many problems for you. And I'm sure that anybody who hasn't transformed that part of their business yet, you know what I'm talking about. So, I am not sure if you have heard this joke. Who was responsible for your company's digital transformation initiative? Was it your CEO? Was it your CTO? Or was it COVID-19? And I won't tell you the answer because I think it's pretty obvious, that who it was. One of the foremost changes, that have affected the landscape is the adoption of telecommuting, or in simple words, work from home. Given that telecommuting or remote work is quite the norm given the current situation, how are we faring so far? So, at Sprout, what we did was we decided to conduct a client-wide survey, reaching out to all our customers across the many industries that we have customers from, to find out the answer. This survey was conducted in April of 2020, 1 month after the ECQ started. And we actually learned a lot of interesting things about how companies are faring when it comes to work from home. So before we dive deep into the findings, let's remember, and something that even Rona pointed out, that first and foremost, given the nature of the business, not every company, every industry can switch to work from home, right? So we must bear that in mind. I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, some will be able to completely, whereas some will be able to partially, and some might not be able to, right? So let's bear that in mind. So we learned that 72% of our clients are working from home as a measure to protect themselves from the COVID-19 pandemic, right? What else did we learn about these companies? So the ones who were able to work from home, we learned that despite not being able at work locations, despite not being, at work locations, respondents are still equipped to operate efficiently. So that's a good thing. You will see that, more than almost 80% of the people, were able to do so. Most companies have the right tools to collaborate. Again, a pretty good and, interesting finding that collaboration, online collaboration is not a big problem. And respondents are also able to maintain their concentration and productivity when working from home. So again, good news. Among the respondents, Gen Z stood out a little. So who are the Gen Z? So roughly speaking, there are many definitions of Gen Z, but roughly speaking, people who are born after 1995, they are called Gen Z. So the oldest Gen Z individual would be around 25 years old right now. Now we found out that among all the generations, Gen Z had the most difficult time concentrating on work from home. Now, personally speaking, I am not surprised given how hooked Gen Z people seem to be to their phones. Okay, like TikTok, YouTube, this and that. There are so many distractions. For nowadays on the smartphone, and Gen Z being digital natives, they are practically addicted to it. So, as an employer, this is of significance to you because the insight here is that we need to be extra vigilant when it comes to the engagement level of our Gen Z employees. Like simply put, like keep a close eye on them to make sure that they are motivated and engaged. We also discovered, what were the common roadblocks to working from home. So, would anyone like to guess the most common roadblock? I mean, I would like to see the comment section as to what people are saying. What do you think is the most common roadblock? I mean, the answer is already there out in front of you. Well, I mean, internet issues, right? More than half of the respondents told us, that internet issues, yes, internet connectivity, internet issues, is a major roadblock from them. Slow, poor, or no internet connection. I mean, personally speaking, I suffered a lot during the first month of the ECQ because my internet connection was really bad. But by the grace of God, I was able to address the situation. Now, the other common issues around work from home are all technology related, roughly speaking. But the good news here is that it is quite an easy problem to solve. Okay? Fortunately for us, we live in the internet age in the era of cloud computing and smartphones, and there is a plethora of technical solutions to address the problem of automation and digitization for remote work. In fact, my company, Sprout Solutions, is one of those companies, that provides you a robust solution, that would enable your digital transformation and also help you manage work from home for your employees. Now, when it comes to these solutions, that are abundantly available, right? One of the first questions that will pop into everyone's mind: how do you automate or digitize if you are on a budget, right? Uh, I mean, I can confidently say that given the broad range of solutions available, no company will be left out because of budgetary constraints. That's a fact, right? There are plenty of options to get you started for free. Anything that you want to automate or digitize, there is something or the other, that's available for free. And in fact, it's not just like free, everything is free, right? There are options that are free, some that are freemium, and some that are paid. Like just to give another example, given my connection with Sprout, let me tell you how Sprout is making things easy in the HR and payroll space. So we offer free payroll for companies with a headcount of 50 or below. And in fact, when the pandemic started, when ECQ started, we went a step further and we offered a special package called the Rescue Kit for clients who were looking to automate their HR and payroll processes, but were severely restricted by budget. So this is an example for the HR and payroll space, right? Let me share some more examples. Like, for example, for email, for online meetings, document creation, we have G Suite. G Suite by Google offers you a bundle of all of these solutions that if you subscribe to it, you will be able to provide that to your employees, okay, all together. And for messaging, Slack. So Slack is among one of the many options out there. Slack offers a very decent set of features for free. So essentially, any area that you pick, okay, you will find dozens of solutions available as free, freemium, or paid. And broadly speaking, again, I would like to remind everyone that as far as digital transformation is concerned, okay, there are plenty of tools out there, and all you have to do is, basically get the ball rolling in terms of commitment. That all right, given the situation we are in right now, given the challenges we are facing, okay, the senior management of your company, the leaders of your company, just have to take that first step. That yes, this is important, and let's start doing it. Okay? Now, given the limited time that we have, I don't think it would make sense for me to focus a lot on the specific tools that can be used for specific functions. Okay, I would want to focus, broadly on the principles, okay, when it comes to digitization and automation when it comes to enabling remote work, okay, and digital transformation in general. So there are three very important considerations, when it comes to automation and digital transformation that you must bear in mind, okay. The first one is free versus paid. I told you that there are so many solutions available for automation and digital transformation, and some are free, some are available as freemium, and some are paid. Okay. In case if anybody is wondering, what is freemium? So freemium is basically, there are certain solutions, that are offered for free, and you only get to access, the basic feature set. And if you want to, access the more premium features, you have to switch to a paid plan. Like one example, there is a tool called Evernote. Okay, so Evernote is used for note taking. So there is a free version and there is a paid version. The paid version has a lot more features. Okay, so that's example of freemium. Now, even before the pandemic started, cost has always been a consideration. I mean, let's be honest. Okay, when money is always, important, right? How much we spend, right? So cost has always been a very important condition, and now in the middle of a pandemic, 6 months, down, since 6 months since all of this started, and in the middle of an economic crisis that we have, cost is most certainly weighing on everyone's mind. Okay? That it would be kind of stupid to say that, nobody's thinking about cost, right? So given the importance of cost and given how it's weighing on everyone's mind, it is especially important for me to remind you that your decision should not be made purely on a quantitative basis. So what I'm telling you is that even though we are in the middle of a economic crisis, don't make your decision just on the basis of cost, because that is going to be a recipe for disaster. Cost is important, yes. I'm not saying ignore it, okay, but cost is one of the factors. Cheap is not always the best. Okay, so please spend time considering the other factors, such as the breadth and depth of the solution that you're choosing, the tool that you're choosing. Please also think about whether the tool you are using will be easy to adopt and will actually be used by everyone. Okay, like example, Sprout, our solution, is a cloud-based solution that can be accessed through the browser. So you have to do no installation, nothing. All you need is a computer with a browser, and you can start using it. So this is a good example of something that is easy to use, okay, and adopt to, versus a solution that, let's say, requires installation on everybody's computer. Okay, now that would be more difficult to. First of all, it would require a process where everybody's computer, you have to install it, right? And you have to make sure that all the systems get automatically updated. So there are more complications when it comes to solutions that have to be installed on each one's computer. Just as an example, right? So like I said, consider whether the tool you're choosing will be easy to adopt and will actually be used by everyone. Please also think whether the tool will still be relevant for your company as your company grows. Okay, maybe this tool works very well for you at this point in time, but let's be honest, no business, like businesses are always constantly changing, right, growing, right? In fact, ideally speaking, everybody wants to grow, right? And the economic crisis that we are facing right now, this is not going to last forever. Again, very factually speaking, economic, these things are cyclic, right? Right now we are going through a crisis, but soon there will be a rebound, and then this will be history, right? So the important thing to consider here is that the tool that you're choosing should be such that as you grow, it can support you at that stage also, when you have grown a lot. Because if you would have to change your tool, let's say every year or every 2 years, it's going to be a painful process. Okay, like it or not, I mean, digital, like technical tools are not as easy as changing your wardrobe, right? It's way more complicated. So like even as individuals, it takes us time to adapt to a new tool or a new app, and we often spend time building the habit of using these apps. Like imagine, and I'm sure Facebook is a very good example for all of us. Imagine if some really cool new social media network were to launch. Okay, would you automatically switch to that? Not really, right? So, and that's a very personal decision. So businesses are more complicated than individuals, right? So that's why it's a very important consideration that you choose the tool the right way, not just on the basis of cost. Okay, look at other factors also, and then make the decision. Adapting to a new tool takes time, and even discarding a tool is not that straightforward, right? So this was, my first point, which is about making the right decision when it comes to choosing between free and paid. Okay. So the next point is about being flexible. When we think of automation and digitization, it is typically related to some processes that we follow for specific functions. That maybe you have a particular way in which you do your payroll, and maybe you have a particular way in which you onboard your employees, and so on and so forth. It is very important for you to recognize that the processes you are following might not fit readily into an existing tool. Yes, your processes might be too unique to the point that maybe there is no tool out there, no software out there that will readily fit into the process that your company has. And that is why you must bear this in mind. You must be flexible. Okay. Customization is expensive, and sometimes it's not even an option, because if you're thinking, all right, my process is very unique, but I love it, right? It works great for me, and if there is nothing available, maybe I will look for something that can be customized. Possible, yes, puede, but sometimes maybe the available tools might not have a customization option. Okay. And if you're thinking that, okay, in that case, let's build our tool. So remember, I just mentioned a while back that cost is a very important factor, right? So building software is not easy. Okay, it's a pretty hard process. It's a pretty challenging process, and not everybody should be doing it, because if you are not in the business of building or making software, it really doesn't make sense for you to build something uh, if you can't find a tool for it. Okay, that decision should be made only in an extreme case where your process is so unique and it also is a source of competitive advantage for you, but that's a separate discussion. Okay, simplify things, the point I'm trying to make is be flexible, be open-minded. Sometimes the process that you are following might not readily fit into the tools. Okay, so in that case, be open to making changes, right? You should be open to that. Like, remember, our entire conversation is taking place around transformation, right? So transformation has to work both ways, right? We adopt technology that makes our life easy, but we also bring about changes in our organizations so we can readily adapt technology, right? It's a, for me, it's a two-way process, right? So that was my second point. Okay, that you have to be flexible, right? Like my second very important consideration. Then the third point, okay, one solution for all problems. Okay, so another important thing to remember is that there is no one magical solution for everything. When companies are scouting for solutions for automation and digital transformation, whether it's related to enabling work from home, whether it's related to HR and payroll, or something else, they are often urged, to look for one provider that has everything, but that is typically not possible. I mean, like I said, companies need to be flexible. We were just talking about that in our last point, right? That companies need to be flexible. Also, in the quest of finding that magical one solution, companies end up wasting a lot of time just looking for such a solution. Like, imagine you're looking for something. It's like your proverbial needle in a haystack, right? If, let's say, it exists, it might be just a very lucky coincidence that you find it right away. Okay, but typically, like, again, I'm speaking from experience, right? It's rare to find that one solution that has everything. Okay, in fact, I have never come across one. Okay? And that's based on my experience. Okay, so given that it's very rare, and difficult, you end up spending a lot of time, is if that becomes your objective, that no, we will only start a transformation, we will only automate and digitize if we have one thing that fits everything. So you end up wasting a lot of time. Like, imagine if you have 5 different functions or processes that you want to automate. If you're looking for that one solution, it might take months before you can find one, get the decision makers to agree, and then start the onboarding process. Versus, if you decide to take small steps, baby steps first, you can find a good solution for a part of your process or function and get the ball rolling earlier. So instead of waiting for months for your transformation, for your automation and digitization to begin, you can actually start way earlier, right? And you would be able to realize the gains faster as well. So it is worth repeating, and so I will repeat myself. The story doesn't just end with finding that solution, right? That is just the beginning. Once you find the solution, you have to make sure that everyone actually uses And then most importantly, you have to measure the impact of adopting that solution. And given the complexity of digital transformation, if your company is fairly new at it, I implore you, please start with small and manageable steps. Okay. Please don't look for that one magical solution that fits everything. Okay. It's okay for you to adopt different solutions, for different needs. Okay? I mean, it's like to use another example, like it's kind of like saying that, oh, I mean, I will only buy everything that I wear from one brand. Okay, I will never look at any other brand or any other company. Okay? It's kind of like that, that let's be practical. Maybe the kind of clothes, the kind of accessories that you're looking for might not be offered by that brand, or maybe if they are offered, maybe they are not that good, right? So should you just force that because adherence to the brand is that important? Not really, right? Okay, it's, I mean, I'm sure that it's like, duh. I mean, obviously you don't care about that, right? You care about what looks good and feels good for you, right? So you have to take the same approach for your company also. Okay, be wise when it comes to picking the solution. Okay, look for a good fit, look for how easy it's going to be to adapt and to onboard people, and most importantly do it in a way that you can start using it as soon as possible, so you can already see the impact of it. Because digital transformation is a journey. Okay, you start and then you have to continue it. Okay, and if you're able to not prove the worth of it in the beginning, then your senior most stakeholders will not back you for further transformations. They'll be like, oh, we bought that tool and this tool and nothing happened, so why do you want to spend money on other tools? So that's why you have to make sure that you do it in a way that you take baby steps, right? That, I mean, that's the point I'm trying to make, that you have to, there is no one solution for all, and please take baby steps. So uh, before we move to the next part of our presentation, uh, just to wrap up this section, and I would like to reiterate the three considerations that we talked about. So the first one was free versus paid. Just because something is free doesn't mean it's good. Okay, be wise. Okay, choose wisely. Sometimes paying a little money is worth a lot more than not paying any money at all. Okay, then second of all is to, you have to be flexible. Okay, be ready, be open to making changes in your policies, your processes, just to make sure that you can fit with the tool that you're looking for. And third was that there is no one solution for everything. Okay, so again be open minded, be flexible, and look for solutions that you can immediately start using without spending a lot of time doing research and onboarding. Look for solutions that are easy to adapt to, and that would that you can start using immediately. So please remember that automation is not the end, right? We are not doing automation because it's cool. Automation is the means to an end. Your end goal, I am sure about this, is to have a healthy business with happy employees, right? And delighted customers. And automation and digital transformation, if done right, with the right tools, okay, will surely help you achieve that. So that's all for the first part. Rona, you can take it over from here.
Yeah, actually, it was a very short presentation, but I got a lot of meat from that presentation. And I would also like to reiterate what you said. The last line that you said, that it's very very important that you know why there is a need for you to automate. Yes, everyone wants to automate, but it should not be because you want to be cool, you want to copy what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
It's because you have a specific end in mind. You want
Exactly.
to streamline your processes. You want to make sure that your employees are happy. They are able to work from home productively. You should have these reasons for wanting to have automation. Otherwise, it will just be a waste of time, a waste of money, a waste of resources. And I also agree that there are a lot of options available right now, because when we say automation and digitization, most people think that, oh, we have to spend a lot, we have to shell out a lot of money, it will be hard to get approval because it would involve a big budget. That's not always the case. And Sprout is a good example of this one. I remember when the pandemic hit, Sprout was the first one to announce that for a specific period of time they would be providing, I think, free access to their whole suite,
Exactly.
the whole
You're right.
HRIS for 60 days, if I remember that
Yeah.
correctly.
That was the rescue kit that I mentioned.
Yeah, the rescue kit. It
Yeah,
was a very very good way to get to help, actually, to help companies who by the time were already suffering from all of the stoppage in the operations, all of the employees having to work from home. So we as HR, we just need to be very very um aware of all of this free services that we can take advantage of, and we also need to understand the difference between the free, the freemium, and the paid. I think it's about time that we realize that we can take advantage of freemium. I actually like to take advantage of freemium because it allows me to have an access to the whole suite for a specific period of time, which helps in deciding whether I would be getting this specific platform or not. And there are a lot of freemium platforms available in the market right now that HR people can take advantage of, especially during this season. This is during the situation. There are a lot of people offering their platforms for free, at least for a specific period or a trial period that will allow you to check whether it's the right platform for you or not. And then I think we are actually, Approach is actually making use of the free payroll platform of Sprout, since we are below 50 headcount. We are making use of that. It's helping
excellent.
me right now with the payroll processes. It's a very good platform. It's or how do I described it once as a one click platform wherein you just need to enter all of the information, and then count to 10, you'll have your payroll report.
You're right.
So I think some of our viewers might be interested with what Sprout is offering. So I just need to show them this video so you'll have an understanding of what Sprout is all about. Okay, so people, please check this out.
So you've got your processes, and your company is an oiled machine that runs pretty smoothly. But under the hood, you have problems. You've got managers desperate to know the status of their open positions. Leave requests getting lost in a jumble of emails, SMS and forms, and employees complaining about payroll errors. You've thought about some expensive custom software that would be a pain to maintain, or swimming in all the features of SAP or Oracle, or maybe even outsourcing your payroll altogether. Why can't you find a local, intelligent, well-supported software that caters to your needs as a Philippine company? Well, guess what? Here at Sprout, we've developed a system that just works. One system with all the features you need, and without all those that you don't. So say we need to find you a new sales manager. Log on, check your list of candidates, then quickly filter down to the cream of the crop. There she is. Hire that rock star. Here's where it gets great. Onboarding is paper-free and painless. HR requests, movements, attendance, all filtered through in one place. Cool, huh? Payroll, one click. Thanks to automated timekeeping. That's not all. Keep her engaged through progressive benefits such as savings and investment plans. Justify her promotions based on performance data, and plan her succession early. Take care of her from day one to retirement. We're live and evolving with you. Just last week, we had clients request 4 new features. This week, we built and released them all. True story. So what are you waiting for? We've got free trials, no quit fees, and local geniuses just waiting to onboard your team. Get over to sprout.ph and get your systems fixed today.
There. Okay. So that's for those who are watching, that's just a glimpse of what Sprout offers. The plat or the module that I have used with Sprout before was the HRIS and the payroll. I haven't tested yet the recruitment part, but I think with my previous employer we were supposed to get that one, but we had some problems with the negotiation in the documents, the required documents. So we were not able to push through with that one. But if you're looking for a platform that will help you right from the recruitment phase up to the offboarding phase, Sprout offers that. With Sprout, the thing that I like the most about it is that they have I am not sure if this is already available to everyone, but they offer a module that allows you to create reports, some sort of a crystal reports, an analytical reports that will let you know how many of your employees are living within this particular area. So it gives you a demographics of your employees and any other information that you might need. Can you share more on that, Kiste?
Yeah. So the model that you're talking about, it's called Sprout Insight. So I can definitely share something about it right away. So basically, the point there is, that if you're using the HRIS and payroll system of Sprout, there is a lot of data, about your organization, that your employees, that's just sitting in the system, right? So what we decided to do was we built an analytics platform that utilizes, that data, and basically created, a number of reports. So just to give you a few examples, there is a report about daily headcount. Like at one glance, you can see, oh, how many of your employees, have showed up on time, how many are running late, how many are absent, right? So basically, at one glance, you can see that. We have a customer, who basically is in a business where they assign, their employees to different companies, and what they do is, and they make use of this product, every morning, the manager takes a look at the system and immediately recognizes, that, oh, this particular employee who was supposed to this particular client of ours seems to be running late, so he can immediately, send a substitute. Okay? So they're able to solve their problem that way, by using Insight. Another report there is, absenteeism. Okay? That it helps you, crunch the absenteeism numbers, so you don't have to do any processing yourself. You can look at it like right away. Okay. Then another one that we have there, is for OT expenses. That, like, I mean, all companies, sometime or the other encounter, overtime, right? Like they have to pay overtime to their employees. And it's very easy for this expense, to get out of hand. Like you won't even know. And suddenly it's like your employee is earning, so much more, in overtime than salary. And having something like an OT dashboard, will help you keep an eye on it. Because look, practically speaking, overtime is not the permanent solution, right? If you see that you're ending up paying overtime more often than not, then maybe it's time for you to expand, hire somebody, right? Because that's going to be cheaper. So the OT dashboard, that we have, the OT report, that will help you keep an eye on that. And of course, we have one for payroll expense, that you can keep an eye on your complete payroll expense. So I'll give you an example, of from the CEOs of one of our clients, and he, uses Insight, like Sprout Insights, very heavily. And he tells us that his own finance team often lets him down because when they give him payroll expense, they exclude, things like tax or SSS or Phil Health, because in their mind, what was paid to the employee on the payday, that's payroll expense, but that's not it, right? There are more things, right? When you're looking at an employee's compensation, there is obviously, the net pay that goes out every payroll run. There is tax, and there are SSS, Phil Health, Pagibik contributions, right? So your actual cost is all of it, right? So with Sprout, with the payroll expense dashboard in Sprout Insight, you can actually see the entire expense in one glance. So we have a lot more dashboards, that we can talk about later. Okay, that's
Yeah,
part
I
of
think
our second part.
Yeah, I think I can already let you discuss with them because we're getting some questions from the comment section. They're asking for a proposal for HRIS. So I think this would be a good time to discuss what Sprout has to offer. That way they can easily decide whether they would be getting your services or whether they would want at least to take advantage of the free payroll platform. Okay, so I'll let you discuss this one.
Yeah, sure. So before we go on to the next part of the presentation, anybody who's interested in a proposal. So see, I mean, you can visit our website sprout.ph, and just fill in the inquiry form, and somebody will reach out to you immediately. Or I mean, if possible, Rona, maybe I can share my email, and people can send me an email directly. Okay, and I will make sure that our sales teams responds to that. Okay, either both works. Okay. Uh, well, somebody's saying that I am an HRIS expert. Well, you know what? To be very honest, there are so many there are so many people in Sprout who are way more knowledgeable than me when it comes to HR and payroll. And I'm sure that if you sign up with us, you will gain access to their knowledge. Like trust me on that. Okay, we have like a real uh, plethora of experts in Sprout. Okay, so moving on to the next part, making your business pandemic proof. So when the quarantine started, almost all businesses had to switch gears and go fully online and remote. And we are one such company, that on March 12th, our CEO and executive committee, made a decision that we found out, about a number of people in our company, in our building, that they were COVID positive. So we decided, that we have to switch to completely, remote work. And March 13th, Sprout went, switched to work from home. Yeah. And yeah, going back to what I said, so when the quarantine started, all businesses had to switch gears and go fully online and remote. And as a result, there is a need for companies to use cloud-based tools to keep business operations smooth. So I would like to emphasize, on cloud-based. Why cloud-based? Because look, when it comes to making your business pandemic proof or earthquake proof or any sort of natural disaster proof, if you use software that has to be installed and maintained by your own IT company, then it cannot guarantee you business continuity. Because if something were to happen to your IT team, or something were to happen in the Philippines, your business would be severely disrupted. But if you are using cloud-based solutions, it's going to be very, 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 unlikely that your business will be disrupted. Because what typically happens, for cloud-based solutions, and Sprout is a perfect example of that. We are using, data centers that are outside the Philippines, and these data centers, by design, are created in places that do not have, that are not prone to earthquakes or volcanic eruptions or other natural disasters. They are typically considered, very, very safe. Okay, places like, there is Hong Kong, there is Singapore, there are Taiwan. Basically, you have data centers all over the world. And another advantage of being cloud-based is that your data and your software is not just sitting in one place. Like example, I can have my primary location, my primary data center location as Singapore, and I can have a backup one in, let's say, Seoul or Hong Kong. So even if something happens to Singapore, everything is already backed up somewhere else. Okay? So that's the beauty of cloud-based, that it is really, really secure. Okay, very, very, very low chance that something will happen. And I mean, something like this, something like, if only something major happens, like, an asteroid comes and hits planet Earth, okay, and that's something, very major, right? Only in that case, maybe, your data center might be affected. But generally speaking, when you go to a cloud-based solution, it's so much more, easy. Yeah? It's painless, it's hassle-free. So Sprout HR and Payroll, it's a cloud-based human resources software with core modules that allow you to remotely manage the essential aspects of employee lifecycle management, like attendance monitoring, leave tracking, employee profile management, and a lot more. Okay, so let's look at it one by one. And before we actually take a deep dive into into the products that Sprout offers, I think it's important for me to mention, where are we coming from? What is our motivation and what guides us, in our journey here? So what you see on the screen is the North Star of Sprout: to impact the life of every Filipino by improving business in the Philippines. Okay? This is something that is at the core of who we are as a company. This is a part of our essence, and we are very much driven by this North Star, in our everyday actions, in our philosophy towards our product development, and in how we deal with our clients. Like I'm really truly proud of this North Star. I'm really and truly proud to work for a company which has such a North Star and which actually abides by it. Okay, that's the best part, that we actually abide by it. So let's talk about attendance management first. So one of the first things that, if you switch to remote work, is attendance management, right? Like, how do you make sure that your employees are clocking in, clocking out, right? So we have multiple solutions for that. We have a solution called Web Bundy, which is something that can be accessed from the browser, like from the homepage of Sprout HR. Okay? We have another solution called Clock In Homepage, which is actually a very light solution that can be accessed from any browser. So if you don't want your employees, to go to the Sprout homepage, okay, they can go to this Clock In homepage. And the advantage, it's very light. It will load very fast. Okay. So if internet connection is an issue, then maybe this is a good solution. Then the third solution, when it comes to remote login, is the mobile app. So the beauty of the mobile app is, like, let's say you are concerned about, fine, your employees are working from home, but you want to track where are they clocking in from. So the Sprout mobile app actually has this feature called geofence and geotag. So if geotag basically means that if I turn geotag on and I give it to your employees, every time they clock in, I will capture, the location from where they clocked in. Okay, and this will appear in the logs in their attendance report. Geofence is taking it a step further. let's say your employee told you, let's take an example, let's say SM Light. So let's say, you know that your employee lives in SM Light, and your arrangement with the employee, during these times is that, you will only allow them to clock in from their home, which is in SM Light. So what you can do is you can geo fence them to SM Light. So only and only if they are clocking in from SM Light, okay, within 100 meters from SM Light, their attendance, will reflect. If they try to clock in from, let's say, Shangri-La Mall, which is a bit further from SN Light, maybe 500 meters away, they won't be able to. So that's the beauty of, these remote clock-in methods. Okay, they give you a lot of flexibility and let you manage, how you want your employees to clock in and clock out. Okay, now this was one of the most important parts of the HR solution, but it's not the only part, right? It has a lot more. So with our cloud-based HR, you can manage timekeeping and leave approvals. The employee 2-1 profile, which is a very critical part of human resource management. So Sprout automates that for you, right? All employee data is accessible and it's in one place, right? You can also do a lot of form generation automatically, like if you want to issue a certificate of attendance, if you want to, if let's say you have some other document, that you have a specific template for, you can, create a ready-made template, using Sprout HR, and every time you have to generate the document, you can just use that template. So you don't have to you don't have to worry about doing repetitive work over and over. And obviously, you will have good visibility on the employee headcount. The HR solution by itself, gives you a summarized version of your employee headcount and everything. And if you want more details, then there is Sprout Insight, which I already talked about before, and I will also mention later. And of course, it's very important to mention, that what we have built is completely digital DOLE compliant, right? See, this is one of the most important parts of automation and digitization, especially when it comes to HR and payroll. You don't want to use a system that will create more problems for you, right? You want to use a system that will make compliance easy, okay, and painless. And Sprout HR does that. Now, the next important part is payroll. So obviously, you have automated HR, you have automated timekeeping. So payroll automation, is just next, and it's also very easy, right? Sprout Payroll allows you to digitally manage all administrative aspects of payroll by fully automating the manual payroll processes and government contributions computation and report generation. Most importantly, Sprout Payroll handles the nuances and complexities of the Philippine payroll system with ease. This is one of the most important, USPs, of our product, right? That it is government compliant. Again, payroll has to be like we were talking about HR being government compliant. So payroll has to be like, a step further. It has to be super government compliant. Okay? And you don't have to visit government offices anymore. You don't have to manually generate, reports like 2316, annualization, and alpha list. It's all there. Okay, SSS, Pug, EBIG, Phil Health, these are all there. And one of the most important things that I should mention is that if the government, makes any changes, like let's say come the month of November, let's say Phil Health says that, oh, we are going to change, the amount of contribution, that employees have to make. So you will find out, that Sprout is one of the first companies, that immediately updates the system. Okay? That every time, such an update is issued, we are one of the first, to make sure that our system has already, complied with the change. So you won't have to worry about, being non-compliant. Basically, payroll doesn't have a tagline, but if there were a tagline, I would say that, we let us worry about the compliance, okay? And you can just focus on one-click payroll runs. Yes, music to the ears of all HR professionals, definitely. Now, so we covered, the core modules, which is HR and payroll. Now, let me talk about, other modules which we have built on top of HR and payroll and are equally, if not more beneficial, to you and your employees. So before the pandemic started, sometime in December, Sprout released a product which we called InstaCash. So InstaCash basically is a financial benefit that's fully integrated with Sprout HR and Sprout Payroll. Okay. So what this product does is that, once you have turned it on for your company, okay, it allows your employees to borrow up to a certain amount without the need for any approvals, any form filling, any other hassle, right? And there are no interest charges, there is no paperwork. The payment is fully automated. Like the moment the employee finishes all the steps and clicks on submit, okay, within minutes that employee will receive the loan amount in their payroll bank account. Okay. And the reason why we decided to launch this benefit is we realized that in the Philippines there is this problem where in the times of need, employees and other people also, have to end up borrowing money from loan sharks, which typically charge a very, very high interest rate, right? And are known for their nefarious practices, right? So what we wanted to do was, we wanted to address this pain point. And look, I mean, you might say that, why even encourage employees to borrow? And I will come to that. But the ground reality is that we can't change the fact that sometimes somebody might be in need, for a few thousand pesos, okay, for the right reasons, right? And it's not always possible, for the employee to reach out to, let's say, the HR admin, or their manager and ask for company assistance, right? Because it takes time. Even if the company is very willing to provide, such an assistance to their employees, it's not going to happen in the middle of night, right? Like, for example, if, let's say, your employee's, child fell sick on a Saturday night, and he or she needs, let's say, a 10,000 peso loan, right? How are you going to arrange for it, right? But with something like an Instacash, all they have to do is, access Sprout HR through web or mobile, apply for the loan, and they will get it immediately into their bank account. And the best part is that the repayment of this loan is automated. You don't have to do anything about it, okay? Because it works with HR and payroll seamlessly. Borrowing and repayment both are already a part of the feature set. Even repayment is very easy. And couple of interesting points that I would like to mention about Instacash. We found out that 45% of the borrowers of Instacash used it outside regular office hours and over the weekends or holidays. So, which means that around half of the time they are using it when, even if you wanted to, as the admin or the HR or people ops manager, you would not have been able to help them. Second important fact, which I must emphasize on, if you are thinking that Instacash is creating a culture of borrowing and spending on frivolous things, you are wrong. 85% and more of the borrowers used Instacash for essential stuff. They used it for rent, they used it for utilities, they used it for emergency medical expenses and tuition fees. And we found this from a very, very extensive data set. This is not hearsay, this is not anecdotal. We have hard data which tells us that 85% of the time people are using for essential stuff. So that was about Instacash, which is one of the first benefits that Sprout has started offering. And keep your ears and eyes peeled, because this is not it. There is more. Okay, there is more that's coming. There is more that we have in the pipeline. Then during the pandemic, we also launched this benefit called Sprout Wellness Program. Okay, so Sprout Wellness Program is made of different services provided by licensed, skilled, and trained professionals. It has 5 main components, all devised towards giving our clients a holistic solution to their organizations and employees' mental health concerns. I'm sure that I'm sure that as individuals, as managers, you all must have experienced that the pandemic and the work from home setup has taken a bit of a mental health toll. Taken a toll at the mental health of all of us. In fact, okay? I would not just say like, I think it has affected everyone, and some more than the others, because unfortunately, there are some employees who are maybe stuck, living on their own, maybe in a 1-bedroom apartment. They have no access to anybody, and they are cut off from social life, right? So given given this situation, something like a Sprout Wellness Program might help you provide some form of respite to such employees, and in fact anybody else, because as the name suggests, it's focused on wellness, right? And we have partnered with, with like really good providers, who will help you, uh, ensure, that your employees' well-being is also taken care of. And I see some questions regarding Instacash. So let's talk about that, at the end of our presentation. But once I'm done walking you through all the products, we can talk about, those questions. So the next product that we have, and this is also a new one, it's called Sprout Pulse. And it's a tool that gathers and measures data towards the employee engagement, towards employee engagement in the workplace. Okay. So as the name suggests, it is a tool that you can use to check the pulse of your organization. And that is so important now more than ever, because we don't have the luxury of face-to-face interactions anymore. Like, look, when we in the pre-COVID era, it sounds like so long ago, when we had the luxury of facial face-to-face interactions, where we were bumping into people and rubbing shoulders with them and meeting them, you could like tell how somebody is doing just by looking at their face sometimes, right? But now we don't have that option, right? And that's why a tool like Pulse will be so much more useful to you now, okay, to basically conduct these assessments from time to time, to keep a sense of how are your employees, how is your organization feeling, okay? And we are using it extensively in Sprout as well, okay? That we believe in the principle of dog fooding. Whatever we build, we first use it ourselves, right? So we have been using it successfully, and and it has turned out to be very useful to us to actually get a sense of what is the general sentiment around certain topics in the company, okay? Like, how are people feeling? Like I said, as the name suggests, it's about letting you take the pulse of your organization. Okay, now Sprout Insight. So thanks to Rona, we already got to talk about Insight a lot. So I will just, briefly repeat myself, okay? So see, I mean, in an era of constant change, getting ahead beats playing catch up. Okay? Sprout Insight is giving you full visibility of your workforce with our 10 pre-built dashboards containing trends on attrition, absenteeism, demographics, overtime, and payroll. And you can't really successfully transform yourself digitally until you also start making use of the data captured by digital transformation to influence your decision making. I'm sure you must have heard the term data is the new oil, and we live in a world of data-driven decision making and data-informed decision making. And yes, like, that is true, right? Decision making has always been one of the most difficult and most challenging tasks of any manager, any leader, right? And more often than not, the challenge is like, what do we base that decision on, right? So at least for certain aspects of your decision making, having a tool like Sprout Insight will make it easier for you. You can base your decisions on hard and easily available data, okay, that can be accessed at the tip of your fingertips, that you click and there's the Insight dashboard for you. So those are all the products that Sprout has. So to summarize, we have HR, payroll, recruit, Insight, and then we have Pulse, Wellness, and Instacash. Okay, so I think I didn't talk about recruit, but I would like to mention it briefly. So it's pretty straightforward. Recruit is an applicant tracking system that's integrated with Sprout HR. So the way it works is that, let's say your people in your company, your managers, they have an opening. So what they do is, they go to the Sprout HR dashboard and they click, request a new hire. They basically provide the necessary information like, job profile, experience, and other stuff. And then from that point onwards, your people ops team can take over and basically manage that life cycle, within Recruit. So it essentially helps you manage the life cycle of an applicant, from the time, the job position is open until the time, it's fulfilled. Yeah. So that's Recruit. So before we move on to the next part, again, I would like to, recap that we have our core solutions are HR and payroll. And then we have a recruitment or applicant tracking solution module called Recruit. We have an analytics module called Insight. We have an employee engagement module called Pulse. We have a solution, for wellness for employee wellness, which is called wellness. Okay, and finally we have a financial benefit, which is called Instacash. So all in all, all the products that we have shown you, this is what Sprout is offering, and we are proud to say that hundreds of companies and like almost 100,000 users are on the system, and it's being used widely. Yeah. We have taken a lot of time and effort to make sure that this technology, the way we have built it, the way it's used, it's very people centric, so it's easy to use, easy to adapt to, and more importantly, the way Sprout operates. If you remember, I talked about it when I was talking about our North Star, right? It's not just the technology that Sprout is providing, like the people who are making the technology and the people who are helping adapt to this technology. We are there for you 24/7, right? Like if you need help, if you need assistance, our customer service team, will be there for you. Yeah? So one of the great things about Sprout as a company is also that we really, truly, deeply care about our customers. Customer service, apart from our product, is one of our strong suits. So not only do we have a great product, we have great customer service. So if you sign up with us, you will not be disappointed. I can promise you that. So I think that's it for me, Rona, as far as the products are concerned. So let's open the floor for questions.
Okay. Before I open the floor for the questions, let me just assure you guys, I've actually worked using the Sprout platform, and their customer service is actually one of the best that I have come across. There was a time when I needed help at around, I think, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and somebody was able to walk me through on how to use the platform. We are trying to synchronize actually the biometrics that we were using then and the Sprout platform. And that person really took the time to walk me through the whole process, check with me, and made sure that everything was working well. Which is why I am very happy with Sprout. Unfortunately, that company that I was working with in the past, it already closed down. Not because of COVID, but due to other circumstances. But we were very happy when we were using Sprout. Okay, so before we open the floor for our questions and answer, let me just introduce, or let me just acknowledge one of our lifetime partners and sponsors, Move Up and Up Up Up. Please watch this video. So for those who are asking, if you haven't received yet your certificate for the basics of gamification that we had, that was sponsored by Move Up and Up Up Up, or was hosted by Move Up and Up Up Up, there's a process that you have to follow before you can get your certificate. You need to make sure that you download the app on your mobile phone. So if you have the option, regardless whether you're using an Android based phone or an iOS, you can download it. Just go to the Play Store or go to the App Store, iOS App Store, and you can download it from there. Once you have downloaded it, please subscribe to the correct channel. So for the gamification, it's under the HR channel. Subscribe to it and go through the exam. Once you have passed the exam, passing grade is, I think, if I remember correctly, 70% or 80%. Once you have passed the exam, that's the only time that you can get your certificate. Okay, the gamification webinar was hosted by Move Up and Up Up Up. If ever you have any questions or concerns, you can directly reach out to them through their Facebook page, and they will gladly walk you through on how to get your certificates. For the free webinars under Uprush, usually in our events page, you would see a tag that it's a free webinar. So for the free webinars, you can get your certificates by filling out the request form posted in each of the event page. Okay, so you need to fill that out. And once you fill that out, please provide us 5 to 7 working days to send over the certificate to you. The certificate will come with the access to the video, a copy of the slides and all the other materials, and links that were provided by the speaker and by materials that we think would help you in understanding the topic during that webinar. Okay. So I think we are open now for questions, and I'm seeing a number of people asking for proposals, requests for proposals. We have someone from Sprout who's monitoring the comment section right now. And they're getting all of the email addresses. We'll also try to get all of these email addresses and forward it to the Sprout team. But if you want an immediate answer, you can actually go to their website, sprout.ph, or you can email Kisley. We have already flashed the email address in our comment section on our Facebook page. It's pinned there, so you can see that email address and use that to request for proposal. Okay? Since it's already a Saturday, baka mga Monday, baka next week, starting Monday, you might get get a reply from your emails. But for now, we'll collate all of this and give it forward it to the Sprout team. Okay, so let's go through the comment section. Batiin lang po muna natin. Mag-hi lang po ako for those who are here. Hi to Rad Plasuelo. Hi to Miss to Merly Arceo. These are some of the common or the regular viewers that we have every Saturdays. And we also have Angel Carlson. We have Tina Villarosa, and we have Miss Rowena Reyes from PLM. Hi, hello po. Hello mga from my I used to be with PLM. I used to study at PLM. So hello po sa inyo. We have Miss Esther Guerrero, also one of our regular viewers. Angel mentioned that she's watching all the way from Negros Occidental. We also have Farida. Hi, Farida from Zamboanga City. I think ito yung pinakamalayo so far. So, hi, Farida. We also have Neddy from Imus, Cavite. Neddy just finished a webinar also earlier around 1 p.m. It's posted in the Society for Advancement of HR in the Philippines. So, if you failed to catch that, I think there's still a replay. You can check that later. Hi also to Miss Sally Ulanday. Arki Kuraya, good afternoon. Ria Mamangon, good afternoon also. Baby Av is also one of our regular viewers. We have Amorfina Saraza from La Union, Miss Jeng Borillo. Sorry guys, feeling artista ako ngayon. Miss Miley Cross, Miss Allen, na-miss ko tuloy. Allen Rasco, good afternoon. RJ Berido and Carl Jeffrey, good afternoon. From Mega SDRO, good afternoon po. Michelle Iban, good afternoon. Jen Torrente, one of our regular viewers also, nagkandabulol na ako. Good afternoon po. RJ Andoy, good afternoon. Jeannie Garcia, Angie Reyes, Carl Jeffrey, Tess Aguila, also from PLM University. Good afternoon po mga ma'am. Paborito kong tambayan yung university. Sorry, nerd. Good afternoon also to Pablo Catura. Good afternoon to Lali Mendoza, Eric Malusok, Uki Lee. Good afternoon po. Good afternoon to Cristia Valente. For those watching from the Facebook groups, we cannot see your name, so you need to click on and give access to Facebook for us to see your name. So, pasensya na po if I am unable to acknowledge your presence here. Paul Espinas, one of our partners. Paul Espinas is actually connected with Up, Up, Up and Move Up. Good afternoon po. He is watching all the way from Vietnam. Yan. And yes, Sir D. Ancot, I saw D commenting earlier. D, I'd like to get in touch with you po. So wait for my email. We might need you as a speaker for next month. Hi, Jamie. Jamie's from Move Up. Good afternoon din po. Gail Di Macali, Katrina Santiago. Ayan, yes, nakaka-tense po pag international ang peg. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So I think I have already addressed everyone. For those who are asking for proposals po, we'll get your email address. We'll forward it to Sprout team, or you can actually check the pinned comment. That's the email address of Kisley, or you can also go directly to sprout.ph, fill out their forms, and they will get in touch with you. Pag gusto pong mag-skip ng line dahil less than 50 lang naman and you just need the payroll platform, there's actually a way to subscribe to that without having to deal with anyone from Sprout kung ayaw nyo na may kausap. You can go directly there. We made use of that free one since mababa lang may headcount ng uprush, and we were able to use the platform within minutes. Okay, somebody said, "Wow, that is Mr. Kisley. He is an HRIS expert. He is an expert of many things actually. Because he's been in product development and software development for quite some time." Again, yung po mga nag-email po, we'll forward your email to the Sprout team para hindi po tayo magkaroon ng, hindi na po kayo magkaroon pa ng problema. So first question, how about tax deductions? Is Sprout able to handle that, Kisley?
Yeah, it's it's part of the payroll system.
Okay.
Like Sprout's payroll can help you. Like, see, it's a very important part of
Mhm.
processing payroll, right? So tax deductions, SSS, like the mandatory government
And
deductions, they're all handled.
the platform also generates a 1601C for the payment, correct?
1601C, 2316. In fact, there are so many forms that I can't even tell you all the names. Okay, so like when you ask for, like, so for our users, for our audience, whenever you arrange for a demo, the salesperson who's demoing it to you will walk you through the list of forms that are automatically generated in Sprout for you.
Ayan. So, hindi na kayo mamomroblema pa dun sa monthly fill out ng 1601C. You already have the form.
Yeah.
Madali nyo na siyang magagamit.
Yeah.
Okay. What if the employee, for Instacash, I think this is for Instacash. What if the employee resigns? Is the employer
So
liable for their Instacash?
short answer, no. And let me explain why. So the way Instacash works is, we have partnered with a third-party lender. And basically, there is a very short KYC process, know your customer process, when your employee is applying for a loan for the first time. And if the said employee decides to leave, okay, and let's say their loan was not able to be deducted in their final pay, then our third party lender would be the one to follow up with the employee and get back the loan. So like I said, as far as you are concerned, it's not really going to be a headache for you. And we have also added a feature recently, that sort of automates the repayment of the loans. So just to give you an example, like during every payroll run, what happens is you basically, like, let's say you're doing payroll run for the period of 1st to 15th. Then what you do is you import your attendance, you basically select the employees, and then ultimately you generate a DAT file that is sent to your bank, the bank that you're using for paying salaries to your employees. Let's say the bank is BPI. So what we have done is, we have released a feature where when you are generating the DAT file, you can actually generate a DAT file that will pay your employees the salary, and at the same time collect all the loan deductions and send it to the third party lender. So basically all happens through one click, that you don't have to worry about anything. Right now this feature is available for BPI and BDO. Okay, and gradually we will add more banks to the list. So repaying the loan would also be completely automatic.
Wow, that's good news.
Yeah.
It's a brand new feature. Okay, so we have a phone-in question. How do we handle DPA if our employees are working from home? Any tips when it
Okay.
comes to DPA?
So, okay, this is actually a very broad question, right? So maybe I'll try to answer it in pieces. Okay. So first of all, when it comes to any compliance related to HR and payroll processes, right? If you're using a good tool, like for example, if you're using Sprout, right? So you don't have to worry about any DPA there because the tool itself already takes care of many aspects, right? It's secure, it's cloud-based, all the it has role-based access. So only the people who need to see the right thing or will be able to access that piece of information, right? And we are also working on adding more security based features that only, let's say, if you are the admin, you will be asked to verify your identity through an OTP, and without that it won't let you proceed. So that's one answer, right? Like, how do you prevent data from falling in the wrong hands, right? And then broadly speaking, since we have switched to work from home, see, DPA or any DPA violation, is essentially related to two things. One, it's related to trust, okay, and the other one, it's related to the having the right processes and tools in place. So if you are using the right tools and processes, then you will make sure that it will ensure that DPA violations, would be a rare occurrence, right? Like if your employees are trained. Example, all of Sprout employees, are DP, like, we underwent the DPA training, like everyone, the entire company, okay? We all have been DPA certified because we take this so seriously. Like we have been given the guardianship of, the client's data, right?
Mhm.
And we really take this responsibility very seriously. Apart from being ISO compliant, which is another, process that sort of makes sure, that we are very organized, process oriented. We take all the precautions necessary and make sure, that there are no violations. So Sprout as a company makes sure, made sure that we are ISO compliant. Everybody is DPA certified. DPA certified. We are using the right tools and the right processes are in place. And all of this put together helps us, avoid any DPA issues. So to answer, the question, how do we become DPA compliant? Basically, this is a good example of, how you can become DPA compliant. That the steps that we Sprout have taken as a company, relevant to your industry, your job, obviously, if you take similar steps, then you would also be able to ensure that you are DPA compliant. Okay? Another example that I would like to give, the machines that are given to us, by our IT, we cannot use USB sticks on it. So there is no way that I can download anything, okay, or I can upload anything, okay. It has to be through the cloud. And who controls the cloud? The admins, are the admins of our IT department, right? So it's really not possible, for anyone, to basically move around or mess up with the data.
I think the last part that you mentioned is something that's interesting for our viewers, because it's one of the common questions that I get when it comes to DPA. If we're issuing laptops to our employees who would be working from home, how do we keep them from downloading files that's not work related, or making use of it for games or for Netflix, things like that? I think it's very important that the IT team is deeply involved in making sure that all of these things are prevented, and that the employees are aware that these are things that they cannot do with an office assigned laptop. It's very important also the education part. I think
Exactly.
um yeah, you mentioned earlier that everyone in Sprout is has gone through training on the DPA. I
Yeah,
think it's also one of the things that some of our viewers may take into consideration, getting their employees knowledgeable when it comes to DPA, because when they already have an understanding of the importance of data privacy, then it becomes a second nature to them to make sure that they know how to handle data. They take precaution on what information they share and who they share it with. I think it starts
exactly.
with that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, on that note, the couple of things that I would want to talk about. So, you mentioned, that there is a concern that, hey, how do I make sure that my employees are not, watching Netflix or, similar things, right? So, there are tools out there, and these basically, these are called, like productivity monitoring or activity monitoring tools. So, what they do is, first of all, okay, first condition is that these tools have to be installed on the company issued laptop, okay? It's not something that runs from the browser. It has to be running, like for example, if you're using a Windows laptop, it's going to be a Windows application that will be installed and it will be running, okay. So what this does is it monitors, the activity of the employee. So whatever browser they are using, it will monitor all the URLs, and it also has the capability of monitoring, certain other applications. And basically this is another step that you can take to ensure that your employees are not going to certain prohibited sites, at least during the working hours, right? And when you think about such a solution, the first thing that pops into your mind is like, oh my god, this is so big brother, right? That you are going to monitor everything that I'm doing. But hey, there are certain businesses, certain companies that I know for a fact that, certain BPOs have clients, let's say in the defense industry in the US. They are very serious about security. So if
Yeah.
you have a if you're running a BPO and you have clients, who are so particular about security, you will have to do that, and your employees will have to be compliant. It's the nature of the business, right? So, and it is possible. Technically, it's possible. And the
Yeah.
second thing, since Rona, I did mention, the DPA certification, right? I'll give you examples, of why, this is important, why it has to be kept repeating. You have to keep repeating it. Something as simple as, sharing sensitive information, even if it's issued by the right party. Example, let's say one of our clients, sends us a request, that, hey, I need you to, send me this information about my employees. So even in that case, what we do is we don't just, put it in a file and send it to them straight away. We download the information. First, we verify that the request is coming from the right person. Okay. Then we download the information. We encrypt it. We send the encrypted file, and then we send the password, separately through a separate medium. So, and this behavior has only become possible, because of constantly repeating. Look, we have been given this responsibility. We must take it seriously. It's like, somebody has trusted you to take care of this information. We must do everything that we can to avoid that it does not fall in the wrong hands.
Correct. And I think having also a policy in place will help. That
Yeah,
what's accepted behavior, what is not an accepted behavior, and what would be the consequences if they try to breach those policies that are already in place. It
exactly,
also helps. Yeah.
exactly.
So our next question is from Carl Jeffrey. Carl is asking, what is the advantages in on-premise and cloud-based HRIS?
See, it depends on the context, actually. Uh, See, the short answer is, that you really don't need on-premise. Okay, on-premise would be really, if I am not mistaken, there are certain kind of companies that are
Mm-hmm.
so paranoid, about their data and their systems that they just can't, live with the possibility that it's stored on the cloud. Okay, so, and if I might be wrong here, but I think typically banks are like that. Okay, and for a good reason. Okay, so in that case alone, I would say that on-premise makes sense. Okay, so first of all, remember, there is a reason. There is a reason that maybe it's a compliance thing. Maybe the company itself doesn't feel secure, right? And secondly, remember that if you are going on premise, you better have a team that's capable of handling that, because it's a lot of work. You would need a dedicated team to make sure that your mini data center, okay, where you're basically storing all the data, they know how to handle it. They have backups. There is a complete process in place, to ensure business continuity in case some sort of disaster strikes, right? So on premise is a viable solution, but not for everyone. There are only a few select cases where somebody should be going on premise. For everybody else, cloud is the magical solution. It's practically plug and play, right? You sign up and you're ready to use right away.
And it doesn't
And
matter where you are located. If it's cloud, it
exactly,
doesn't matter if you're in the office or somewhere else. You would
exactly,
have access to that. Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, so our next question is from Penny Lane. Is Sprout software limited only to HR processes?
Uh, so Pen, like I mentioned, so we have our core product is HR and payroll, but we also have a number of products that are linked to basically an employee's life cycle. Okay, so there is an applicant tracking solution. There is a there is a mobile app. Okay, there is Sprout Insight, which is basically an analytics solution. There is Instacash, which is a financial benefit, and we have Wellness and Pulse. So Wellness is for employee wellness related services, and Pulse is for employee engagement. And apart from this, we also have some other things that are in the pipeline, but I don't think it would be appropriate for me to talk about it yet. So it's a secret.
Yeah,
Keep your
yeah.
eyes
Let's wait
peeled, and
for
you will
it.
find
Yeah,
out soon.
yeah. Let's wait for it. Miss Michelle is asking, does Sprout solution cater to government agencies? What are the challenges observed?
You mean, is the question that, can Sprout be used as an HR and payroll system for, let's say, a government agency?
Yeah,
Is that the
yeah.
question?
I think
So,
that's the question.
yeah. So right now we don't really have a government client, but we are most interested, in catering to the government as well. In fact, it's one of our goals. And there is no challenge there per se. It's more like, okay, maybe the one thing that we would have to do is, just make sure that, if I'm not mistaken, government employees don't have Pug EBIG. They have something else. If they don't, there is one thing
They don't
I
have
can't.
SSS. They don't have SSS. They have
Sorry,
GSIS.
sorry, yeah, that's it. It's not SSS, it's GSIs, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
something like that. That all we would have to do is make sure that payroll also has capability to do GSIS deductions. Okay. So short answer, it's very much possible. Long answer, uh, governments as entities, typically have a very long decision making process, right? And there are a bunch of requirements, like any company that caters to a government has to make sure that they are compliant with all those things. So it's also about that, that uh, if a government agency is what's the word for it, if a government agency is comfortable enough, okay, then obviously there won't be any problem in catering to them. Yeah.
Okay. Phone in question again. Given the quality of internet here in the Philippines, is it truly possible to go full digital, and how should we go about it? What if, for
So,
example, they're trying to work from home and then all of a sudden they don't have internet connection, but they need to log in or they need to log out?
okay,
How does Scout handle that?
so let me answer. There is a specific answer, to that specific use case, and then I will give you the broad answer. So, specific answer: your employee was supposed to log in at, let's say, 9 a.m. They didn't have internet; they couldn't log in. Fine, not a problem. In our system, all the employee has to do, is file for a COA or a certificate of attendance, and they can do it, later, and you just have to approve it. Problem solved. Okay, it will be like, they logged in at 9 a.m. provided their manager approves it. Okay, so that's the short answer to that particular situation. The long answer, or rather, the other answer, which is more broad: how do we deal with the fact that the internet situation in the Philippines is not that great to begin with? Like, internet, or rather broadband internet to be specific, is not widely available, and it's expensive, right? So my answer here, is optimism driven. Okay. What I have to say is, yes, the internet situation is not ideal, but just like, how in the beginning of our talk, remember I told you, I was giving the example of, oh, when life gives you lemon, make lemonade. COVID is a lemon, we have to make lemonade out of it. The internet situation is also kind of like that. It's forcing all of us, to demand better service, from our ISPs, right? So yes, the internet situation is not great, but do we really have an option? Can we afford to stop working? We can't, right? We have to adapt to the new situation, the new normal, right? We have to make do with whatever internet that we have, right? And perhaps, the hope here is that as, more and more people start demanding broadband connections, broadband internet, the providers, will be incentivized and pushed to basically expand their capacity and improve the quality of the services. And look, the Philippines is a free market economy, right? And how does a free market economy work? The government doesn't tell you do this or do that. The businesses that operate in the economy, they basically feel the pulse of the users and they respond to that. Okay? So common sense dictates that if more and more people start demanding better internet connectivity, the incumbent players would be fools to not respond to that, right? And if the incumbent players don't respond, then somebody else will come up and solve that problem. So for me, it's just a matter of time. Like, already it has improved so much. Like, I'm sure that if all of you look back to compare 2015 to 2020, in the last 5 years, things have improved by a lot. Okay, it's not there yet. It's not at the level where you want it to be, but it has improved by a lot. Now, with the arrival of 5G, it has not arrived yet. It's still being rolled out, but maybe, who knows, within a year or two, we might have like 5G penetration, right? And 5G is supposed to have way better, speeds compared to 4G. Like, it's the order of a magnitude better. So things are about to change. Okay, they are already changing, and it will change for better. And that's basically what I'm saying. That, like, whatever we have to work with it, and we have to push, the other stakeholders to get make things better.
Yeah. Dovetailing on what you're mentioning, if you would ask me if it's possible to go full digital right now, I would say that it's not. We well, some parts, some of our processes, some of the things we do can be automated. We can go digital on some of them, but not all of our processes. It's not just because of the internet connection. It's not just because we lack the technology, but it's also because there are a lot of other challenges that we are experiencing. Like, for example, government agencies are not yet at that capacity where their policies or procedures allow for a digital one. SSS, for example, it's only recently that SSS has launched a new website. SSS has allowed for online application of loans, things like that. It's a very recent one, and I don't think they would have launched that without COVID. It was only because of COVID that everyone was pushed to, hey, we have to go online. We have to find other ways to make the processes contactless. We have to find ways on how employees can take advantage of loans without really having to go to the office or go to SSS office, Pag-ibig office. It's only recent. So we cannot go full digital yet, but we are getting there. I agree with Kisley. We are getting there. Uh, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, the technology that we have now will be very, very different from how we would be doing things 5 years from now, just as what we are doing right now is very different, more technologically advanced than how we did things in the past. I mean, 5 years ago, when we say payroll, it's very rare for a company to make use of a platform. If it's a small company, why go for a digital platform when I have MS Excel? But right now, everyone is understanding the importance of having a platform and not just an Excel file that will help them with the payroll. Okay,
True.
things are changing. Things are changing. We'll get there. Not right now, but definitely we'll get there.
Yeah, it's a journey. And like it's interesting you mentioned 5 years ago. Sprout is a 5-year-old company. So it's like we turned 5 this May. So like imagine 5 years ago, January 2015, there wasn't even a Sprout, right? And here we
Yeah.
are, we are this big already, and we are trying to drive this change.
And imagine 10 years ago. 10 years ago, when you say payroll platform, it's people think of it as something that's only for companies that have a very huge headcount or
Yeah,
companies with huge budget. It's not they are very it's very rare for a small company to entertain the idea of a payroll platform. But right now, even the smallest of companies, even MSMEs, they are considering the option of payroll platforms because it makes things easier. And there are a lot of options right now, even for the smallest company.
true. And
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
affordable. And see, it again goes back to the nature of how this is being offered. Because Sprout is a cloud-based software as a subscription service. It's so affordable. If it were an
Yeah.
on-premise solution, it would have been so much more expensive. If it were a desktop client-based solution, it would have been so much more complicated. The fact that it's cloud-based and it's SaaS, software as a subscription, it's so much more affordable. Okay,
And
like price should not be in a, yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
anytime that you would want to end your subscription, you can end your subscription without having to worry about what am I going to do with all of the infrastructures that we have already put in place.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay, so I sorry. We have another question. What problems are commonly encountered in HRIS?
Uh, may I ask, the person who asked this question to be more specific? Like,
I I think he is referring to the challenges that you might encounter if you have a system in place. What are the things that they might have to look out for if they have an online HRIS platform?
okay, when we were talking about automation, so if you guys remember, I talked about 3 considerations, right? So one was free versus paid, one was being flexible, and the third one was I forget, the third one was about let me see, one solution for all, right? Okay. So when we were talking about being flexible, I told you that, look, you might have certain policies or processes in place, and you might be very rigid about it, right? And that could be one of the problems that you might face, while trying to adopt to an HRIS, right? That your policies might be so unique that it might not be available as a feature or even as a customizable option, in the HRS that you're going for. So that's why it's very important for you to have like an open mind and change those policies, because honestly sometimes companies have policies that are not very friendly, or to the company or to the employees, and they might not be even best practice, right? So when you're trying to migrate to a new system, it's actually the right time to make changes in your policies and your processes, so that you won't encounter those challenges. But this is one of the common challenges like companies encounter. And let me be honest here, I don't think there is any HRIS out there that will cater to all of the policies that you have, if especially if you have unique ones. Okay, that's often a problem that we have to see that okay, if you have these policies, how many of them can actually fit seamlessly and how many won't. So we try to find workarounds, and in some cases when you really ask clients that you should reconsider, because
And
if
I think when
automation is, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead,
No,
go
no, I
ahead.
was
Sorry,
saying that
sorry.
if automation, given that automation is a pretty important goal for the company, it is not really a sacrifice. It's just like if you make this change, things will be so much better for you.
Okay, and when it comes to automating and digitizing things, it's not just about the use of technology. It's also about making sure that all of your policies and processes in place can actually adapt to the technology. Because if your policies and procedures are in line with manual activities, then it would be hard to find a platform that will adapt to that kind of policy or process. So you need to make sure that you also go through your processes, go through your policies, and see if it needs a review, it needs updating, if you need to improve it to make sure that you are able to adjust to the times, adapt to the times. And then
Spot
you
on.
can consider looking for the technology that would address that kind of process or policy.
Exactly, you're spot on. So on that note, something else that I would like to add.
Mhm.
So if you remember, a while back I was also talking about how Sprout is not just about a good product but also service. And the importance of that will become apparent to you when you are onboarding. Unlike other players, we don't just dump the product on you and let you handle it on your own. We actually spend a lot of time first doing something called a fit gap analysis. This is the product, this is how you do it, where's the fit, where's the gap. We help you manage that process, and once you're onboarded, we handhold you for at least a month to make sure you have the payroll runs are like error free, glitch free, seamless. So that's another reason why we end up adding a lot of value to our clients.
Okay, another question is from John Anthony Salud. Does your system need annual maintenance, or it will be based on the requirements of the company, or can it be customized based on company requirements?
So see, this is the beauty of a cloud-based software as a subscription tool, right? You don't have to worry about maintenance. We are the one taking care of it, and you won't even feel it. Whenever we know we have to basically update the software. So first of all, okay, before we go to updates, all updates that take place, any new feature that we add, it's free for you. You don't have to pay anything extra. Okay, that when we are rolling out updates or enhancements to the features, it gets to you for free. And when that happens, there is a maintenance window. So all we do is inform you. Typically, our maintenance windows take into account that they do not fall when there are payroll runs taking place. They do not fall when the employees, companies are clocking in, clocking out. We try to find a time based on our analysis of how the system is used, and we try to find this maintenance window, and we just run the maintenance during those windows. And we always inform the clients that we are about to do maintenance. Just like how you get messages on your banking apps that, oh, BPI will be under maintenance and for this time, just like that.
And one good thing about Sprout is that the monthly payment, the fees actually that you discussed during the negotiation part, that's the only fees that you have to worry about. There's no hidden cost, there's no maintenance fees that you have to worry about, there's no additional cost that comes, let's say, at the end of the year or things like that. You only have the monthly fee that you have to consider. And I do think, they correct me if I'm wrong, I do think that they also do customization, but I think there is an additional cost to that, because at some point we wanted to have something customized. I think there's an additional cost to that. But if it's a customization that will benefit a lot of other companies, then you might want to work with Sprout and get them on board on how it can be implemented across all the other clients. So yes, they can be customized, but oftentimes it comes with a fee. Okay,
Well,
and yeah,
on
sorry,
the
go
subject
ahead.
of customization, I would like to answer. So the thing is that see, we saw Sprout as a product, right? So the philosophy here is that we don't want to add something that benefits only one or two users. We want to add something that benefits most users. So instead of doing customizations, what we do is, if you have a feature requests from all our clients are most welcome. Like, we keep our ears peeled, just waiting for a client to request something, and we take note of it, and we research on it, and we find out as much as we can about it. And what we end up doing is, when we see that a number of requests are coming for, let's say, a particular feature, then we put it in a roadmap, and we roll it out, and that it's free. Like I said, when it gets rolled out like that, there is no fee for you. It's completely free. It's a part
And
of the product that you're already paying for.
I think this is how some of the other modules in Sprout came about. It came about as a result of feature requests from most of the clients that Sprout has.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely right. That's how the product has evolved.
Okay, so we have another question. How do you ensure compliance to labor laws while automating and digitizing HR processes? I think this is one that I have to answer.
Sure.
I've always mentioned this even in the past, that when it comes to interpreting laws, It's not something that you interpret on its own. There's always another law that helps you interpret a specific law. So when it comes to labor laws, you have to consider also the laws on the laws on digital processes that we have. There are actually existing laws that allow you to, let's say, how you handle the NTEs, the NODs being sent over email, how you're going to handle disciplinary actions over emails. There are laws governing those. And right now, it is allowed, and there is a way for you to do that. But just to make sure that you still you're compliant, make sure that you research these laws first, get to know them before you automate and digitize your HR processes. But it is possible to still be compliant with labor laws, even if you are doing everything digitally, sending it via email, sending it instead of using courier services or instead of using registered mail. One particular thing that I remember right now is that if you are going to send something over email, you have to make sure first that the email that you're sending to is an email owned by that person. You can easily identify that person via that email. So if, for example, you're sending it via Gmail, Yahoo, you might have a problem. But if, for example, you're sending it via office email address and that is the only person who has access to that email address, then sure, go ahead. You can issue the NTE and NOE over that. Again, I am not a labor lawyer, so please make sure that you consult with a labor lawyer and research all the other laws that we have. Okay. I think it's a good thing to highlight this one. Yaya mentioned that there's no such thing as a perfect system. HRIS and payroll systems are usually developed based on best practices. That's very, very true. Companies getting an automated system have to understand that the vendor and the client have to meet halfway, which means there will be more or less changes on the policies. Vendor like Sprout, on the other hand, should do their best to have configuration that will fit the customer's requirements. And I think this is what Sprout is doing right now. They're making sure that that is why they keep their ears and eyes peeled for latest developments in HR because they need to make sure that the platform that they are offering answers the needs of the HR regardless of the industry that they are in.
True. Thank you so much for that answer. Yeah, like 2 thumbs up to you because, like it or not, sometimes we get prospects, who are like it becomes a difficult conversation, trying to explain that look, it's not possible to automate everything, that you are doing the way you are doing it. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, yes, completely agree with that.
Yeah, actually, some of the company owners think that they can get one platform that will answer all of this, the whole HR process. But it's
Exactly.
not something that's possible. There are still HR processes that cannot be digitized or automated, and there are practices that are unique to a specific company or unique to a specific industry, and there is very little way for one platform to answer that.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So we have another question. Has Sprout encountered an unintended serious service disruption with its system before? And how long did it take for it to be resolved?
Okay. Unintended serious service disruption within its system. So that would
Mhm,
mean, that the system is not accessible at all. So
mhm,
honestly speaking, in my tenure, I have been in Sprout since June of last year. I don't recall an instance, where the system was inaccessible. Okay. And but okay, on that note, I should answer that. Look, although it has not happened, that doesn't mean that it can't happen. When like every company, every software company, whatever solution that you buy, we have an agreed upon SLA. So what Sprout offers, as its SLA is that we will be up 99.5% of the time, and typically we are up more than that. Okay? Typically we are up more than that. Even like world-class cloud systems provider like Microsoft or Amazon, their promised uptime is 99.9%. So in my tenure, it hasn't happened, but statistically speaking, yes, it's possible, but it will be very, very, very rare. And if let's say something like that happens, I can assure you that we have like an army waiting to respond for that situation. Like we have a lot of real-time monitoring in place. So even before you find out, we will know. Okay, I mean, think of it like as some sort of a red bulb flashing, in our HQ, and then we all swing into action, respond to it. Okay? So if ever something like that were to happen, we'll fix it right away.
And I think that's a good thing about Sprout because Sprout is located here in the Philippines. It's a Filipino company.
True,
So the customer service and everything else is here in the Philippines. You don't have to worry about not getting someone on time to fix all
true,
the issues or getting someone to answer your questions. They are here and they know what's happening because they are also here. I am saying this because there was an instance wherein we had one vendor who's actually not located here in the Philippines. And we had concerns about how they compute the payroll. They are not familiar with the Philippine payroll system. So there's a disconnect on how the payroll is being done. We're getting a lot of discrepancies. And that's the good thing about Sprout. Since they are focused on the Philippine market, they are aware of how the Philippine payroll is being done, the intricacies of, let's say, a holiday pay, when it should get paid, when it's not getting paid, the intricacies of double, triple holiday all falling on the same
oh yeah,
day are very familiar with that one.
that happened this
Um,
year, April 9, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
April 9, you had double holiday, and if the person worked, you had to do triple pay for that particular person.
Yep,
Imagine that happening on that person's rest day. So that will be very, very challenging for someone who is not familiar with how complex the Philippine payroll system goes. But if since Sprout is here, they are very much aware of all of these intricacies, and you don't have to worry about them not being able to do a correct computation for this one. They know how to adjust their system so that it's able to handle even if it's triple holidays falling on a rest day and the person doing an overtime stretching all the way to 10 p.m. up to 6 a.m. So that means you also have to worry about the night differential. You don't have to
exactly,
worry about that.
exactly. And
Okay?
to add to what Rona said, see, for a multinational company, Philippines might be one of their markets, right? So maybe it doesn't matter to them that much. But for us, this is the market we are focused on. So we take the pains, to make sure, that it is accurate, and it reflects, the latest, rules and regulations and everything. And you can, like,
Mhm.
if you get a chance to talk to our clients, you will know the difference, when it comes to service, and the product. Like we are, like Rona pointed out, we are there, we are there for you. If you need us, we'll be there. Before the pandemic, we can even, arrange a meeting anytime, anywhere you want, right?
Yes, correct. Actually, Farida's a good statement about that. They can make remote maintenance or remote assistance anytime. Yeah, I've tested this one. Like what I've mentioned earlier, I think it was 8 p.m., 9 p.m. I can't get our biometric to sync with our payroll system with Sprout, and I got in touch with someone from payroll. The person walked me through all of the steps, got back to me after a few minutes to make sure that everything's working out fine. They checked on their end, they checked on my end, and when everything's okay, that's the only time that they said, okay, we'll consider this as resolved. We'll check back again, say tomorrow. Let us know if you encounter any other difficulties after this call. So
Yeah,
they can do that. They can do that. You won't have any problems, and you won't have to worry about having to speak in English and explaining things to them in English because this
exactly,
actually this causes a lot of stress for some of the people in HR. You don't have to worry about that because you'll be speaking to Filipinos. Filipinos will be helping
exactly,
you work on whatever it is that you're having problems with.
exactly, spot on. So like on that note, I would like to share this story. So this happened some time back. When one of our clients, encountered an issue before they were just before, a day before they had to run payroll, and they reached out to the head of customer success, and she was, in the middle of her sister's wedding. Okay, so can you imagine? She was on leave and she was in the middle of her sister's wedding, but she, and bless her for this, she did not let that get in the way of solving the problem. The client's problem was addressed, and they were able to run payroll on time. And another story, in which I was also a part of, and this happened last year, December 31. We were, obviously, everybody was on a break, right? But a client, for some reason, the client they were working, right? And they wanted to speak to us. So we did not tell them that, oh, it's December 31, get back to us, in 2020. What we did was, we got all the stakeholders that were needed, and we got on a client with them, got on a call with them on December 31. Okay. And we sorted the matter out. So this is the level of our commitment, like it's not just, words. Okay. We really mean it.
Okay. Someone is asking if you're a Filipino. Kisle is
Well,
actually not. Filipino.
I am 51% Filipino because my better half is a Filipina. So I mean, if that counts.
An adopted Filipino.
I've been here for 8 years. And on that note, see, like when it comes to customer success management and customer support, you won't be like I won't be, the one dealing with you. So you don't have to worry about language being a barrier.
Okay. So if you are wondering how what other clients or what clients of Sprout are saying about Sprout, let me just play this video. It's actually a testimonial from one of their clients. Okay?
Hey, my name is Tanichi Achuraparek. I'm country manager for Vox Pro powered by Dallas. A quick overview of what our company does. We provide beautiful customer experience for different kinds of clients, and we are headquartered in Ireland. The pain points or the challenges really were around, just the basic HR requirements. So we're always constantly looking for a tool that is all encompassing, right? Because what I have seen so far in the different BPOs that I have worked for, or some of the other BPOs that I have already observed, is that we use different tools for different things. With Sprout coming in and we partnered with them, it allowed us to set up with ease. We did not have to go to different kinds of partners for payroll, for just the HRIS. It was like an all-in-one package that Sprout was able to provide us as a solution. And so that was one thing that I enjoyed about Sprout, is that it covered so many different HR processes that we did not have to constantly change tools just to get information. For example, it allowed us to operate in a paperless environment. So it provided like documentation, allowed us to store important information about our education, the different requirements, the documentations that were required upon onboarding. So that in itself made it a lot easy. So I think one of the biggest values for me with Sprout is that it gave us an opportunity to just kick off the core of our business without really worrying about how to set up an HRIS for the employees.
Ayan. So, maraming salamat po. Nawala ako kanina. I lost my connection earlier because we have very good connection here in the Philippines. Anyways, so that's one of the testimonial from one of the clients of Sprout. So if you're looking at getting Sprout for your as your HRIS and payroll platform, you can get in touch with Kisley. We have pinned his email address in the comment section at Approach page, but you can also leave your email address. We'll collate all of those and send it to Kisley and his team so that they can send you the proposals. Or you can also go directly to sprout.ph, fill out the forms, and they will get in touch with you. If you're looking for a payroll platform that's free for 50 headcount and below, Sprout is offering that right now. So you can just look for that on their webpage, and then you can already subscribe to the free payroll platform. Payroll platform lang po yun. So hindi pa kasama yung ibang mga services na ino-offer ng Sprout. If you would want to get the full suite of what Sprout has to offer, there is a fee involved. It depends on which of those platforms you would like to take advantage of, but it's very, very minimal. And I consider Sprout as one of the payroll providers or platform providers that actually has a very competitive pricing. Ayan. So before anything else, before we end our session for this evening, we would like to encourage everyone to visit our Facebook page for more webinars, both paid and free po. You can take out your phone, make use of your QR code scanner, and take a shot of our QR code in order for you to get to our page, like and subscribe so that you will get notified whenever we have new events and new contests and quizzes happening on our Facebook page. At the same time, we would like to encourage everyone to attend our Understanding Mandatory Benefits in the Philippines. This is happening on Monday na po. So if you still would like to secure a slot, we're still accepting registration until midnight of Sunday. You can make your payments via GCash, PayMaya, bank transfer, credit card, and GrabPay. Okay, all you have to do is head to the events page, or again, using the QR code scanner on your phone, scan the QR code that we have right now so that you can get information for this webinar. Okay, you might also want to attend our webinar on advancing your presentation skills. This is happening on September 24. We would be discussing on how you can present better online and offline. If you have attended any of our HR boot camps, this is a good addition and a supplemental webinar to the learning and development module that we have during the HR boot camp. Okay po. And then we're also doing targeted recruitment and behavioral interviewing on September 26, 2020. Again, if you have attended HR Bootcamp, this is actually a good supplement for the recruitment and talent acquisition module that we had during the HR Bootcamp. We would be discussing how to do targeted recruitment and how you can do behavioral interviewing. Ayan po. First, ang inaabangan po ng lahat, for those who are asking for certificate of attendance, please head to the link indicated here, or again, take out your phone and scan the QR code so that you can fill out the form for the certificate of attendance. We would also be posting the link to this one to our event page, so watch out for that. If you would like to get certificate for previous events, please head to the event page for those events. There is a pinned post there on where you can request for the certificate of attendance. Ayan po. It has been another productive afternoon for all of us. We had a very good discussion about digitization and automating HR processes. Next week, we have another special guest who would be discussing naman the role of artificial intelligence. So iba naman to, mas high-tech po ito. So if the discussion for today is more on just getting your processes digitized and automated, making use of the cloud in order to allow working from home, our topic for next week naman is doing it a step further and making use of artificial intelligence in order for you to assess talents. So if you're in the recruitment business, we would be discussing how you can assess applicants, assess talents, even if you're working from home, and even if you are short staffed. So the platform that they would be providing is more on how you can automate your recruitment process itself, more than just the posting of the job advertisements. This has to do with the interviews, with the assessment part of recruitment. Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you so much, Kisley, again for agreeing to join us this afternoon. Thank you for sharing your insights with us, and hopefully we would be able to forward to you all of the email addresses and inquiries posted in our comment section. We'll try to have that forwarded by tomorrow. Okay, I'll send it to Denise and the rest of your team para they could send out the proposals. Thank you so much for being here for at least for 2 hours now and for helping me discuss the importance of automation and digitization, especially with the current situation. Any last words po?
Well, I would like to thank you. You were a wonderful host, so thank you for, such an engaging discussion, organizing such an engaging discussion. And thank you very much, to the audience, for listening and for all the questions that you had. I hope I was able to, give you the right answers. And please feel free to reach out. My email is just there. Okay? So any inquiries that you have, any more questions that you have, you can reach out to us through the Sprout website or through my email. We will be more than willing to answer those. And
Oh,
we hope you choose Sprout.
yes. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for spending your afternoon with us. We hope to see you again next Saturday or at least on Monday if you would be attending at Understanding Mandatory Benefits here in the Philippines. See you next Saturday and hope you had a great evening, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye. And hope everybody stays safe.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.